Today I just wanted to create a brief improvised video discussing Steven Spielberg's Duel, released in 1971, first airing as an ABC Movie of the Week, although it later received an international theatrical release and certain additional scenes were shot, I believe, or at least auxiliary shots that may have required more budget than the initial telefilm had allowed. A rather iconic film, and one which we don't even normally associate with the catalogue of Steven Spielberg, although Duel has been referenced several times in popular culture. I remember first happening across the film's premise in an episode of a cartoon I watched as a very young child called Little Elvis. How absurd a reference is that? The technical finesse present in this film is absolutely superlative. We can really see how Spielberg was able to conjure that Hitchcockian aesthetic for even greater success and even more massive popular success in 1975's Jaws. I think this film is superbly edited. I think the cinematography is terrific. I think the lack of dialogue, the sound design, absolutely brilliant. I think this all facets of filmmaking, of technical filmmaking, are really nailed in this film. I think its understanding of space and its coordination of these kind of car combat sequences, really fantastic. I honestly think that I sometimes I think it's been posited before critically that kind of snarkily, I suppose, that if Duel wasn't directed by Steven Spielberg, people wouldn't care about it. Watch the film again. This is a very impressive piece of work. Tremendous horror title, honestly. Regardless of whether Spielberg directed it or not, it is exceptionally impressive, I would say. I mean, it just makes more sense that the film is as effective as it is, knowing that Spielberg, a young Spielberg, directed it. I mean, I don't know. To me, if this was just some nobody, it'd be more inexplicable. Like what? Where did this come from? But now we've, it's Spielberg film, so we can understand. And a Spielberg without the pretensions of, making these annoying, magic of childhood films, which are just this saccharine nonsense that that he's known for later in his career. For better or for worse. But yes, I would absolutely endorse Duel. I highly recommend it to anyone who hasn't seen it. I would certainly consider this one of Spielberg's better films, honestly. There's a few I love throughout the years, although it gets more difficult by the mid to late 90s, say. I just find these films forced, bloated, overly cinematic, if that makes sense. I don't need an invisible force constantly tugging at my arm, poking me in the shoulder, trying to inform me that this scene is effective. You're meant to be feeling this in this scene. Yeah, there's just something horrid and annoying about some of the latest Spielberg films. But I digress. That we might talk about that another day. Anyway, for now, have a fantastic day, night, wherever you are.